Quest Software has solutions that allow you to add an additional layer of security to your Microsoft environment. To learn how they can help you protect and detect changes in your environment, please go to quest.com/MPM. Make sure your team is prepared to fight off the latest cybersecurity threat. IT Pro TV is the resource to keep you and your IT team skills up to date. You can stream IT Pro TV's courses live and on demand worldwide, so there's no need to send staff to off-site training. Their team solution provides access to a supervisor portal for full control over your team's training schedule and group analytics. Visit itpro.tv/enterprise security and use the code ES30 to try it free for 7 days and receive 30% off your monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. To learn more about IT Pro TV's team solution, sign up for a free demo of their supervisor portal. Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, Pwn Phone, and Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com.
You know you want to go to itpro.tv/enterprise security and give the code ES30 to try it free for 7 days, and receive 30% off your monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. To learn more about IT Pro TV Team Solutions, sign up for the free demo of their supervisor portal. It's really cool. You should check it out. Register for our upcoming webcast on detecting IoT threats in the enterprise. Paul Asadori and Larry Pesci, Cyber Larry, and Paul Padgett will all be discussing data leakage on this, jumping off points and your network. I'm trying to read this. Jamming wireless signals and other methods attackers use to compromise IoT devices in the enterprise. Is there more? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Go to securityweekly.com/Pawnee/ P-W-N-I-E to register today. I probably wasn't supposed to read that, but, I did it anyway because it was really cool, and they put it on the teleprompter, so I read it. I might as well spell out Pawnee for you as if you couldn't spell that yourself.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Is it Pawnee or Pony?
Pony. I think it's Pony, but
you're in the Northeast. It's add those ahs.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like I could say it like Colorado, go Panny, but I don't know what that is. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. So we won't get into doing insulting accents here today.
I'm a foreigner, so look at it.
We have foreigners here, so we have to behave, right? It's like they don't understand our way. But today, we got security news. I'm going to cut to Matt, the man, and he's going to start covering that security news for you and get me off camera.
Well, it's a short week, so not a ton of news this week. But I did want to start with just breaking news. Optiv did not buy anyone this week. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I mean, it's been like 3 weeks in a row. They just keep announcing announcements. It's a short week, so they must, didn't have enough time to finish an
They worked a
acquisition
half
this week.
day.
Steal time. Who knows?
Yeah, well, there's still time.
True.
A
few hours left.
The market closed at noon, though, right? It closed at noon today, so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, remember, they're in Colorado with me, so it's only 11:43, so it's not even lunchtime yet. So they could pull off something yet today.
Uh-huh.
In the news this week, there's a couple interesting articles I wanted to go through. The first one I thought was a little interesting. Both Rapid7 and Tenable announced new headquarters. So I guess the VM business is growing well. Rapid7 is going to open a brand new headquarters in downtown Boston. They're already in downtown. And Tenable is going to open in a new office location in a new building in downtown Columbia. Having worked for Tenable and tracking Rapid7 for a long time, I think that's interesting news. Both companies seem to be growing pretty well to expand their footprint and go get some new HQ buildings. So that was from late last week. I thought was interesting.
Well, yeah, I saw Rapid7's new building, and it looks like like they're doing well, and maybe they should cut us all in on that, guys. You know who you are. But it's a nice building, and it's in downtown Boston. Is like saying Midtown Manhattan, and you're going,
right.
Yeah, that's not cheap. So something's going wrong. Either that or horrible mistakes are being made. But I mean, that I don't
One
think
or the other, but they both announced within like a day of each other. So I thought it was
yeah, well, maybe they're in on it together. They're gonna be connected with a hyperloop or something.
That's always good.
No. The hyperloops come into Colorado. So yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, from Cheyenne to Pueblo, I think. Yeah, hyperloop.
Man, there'll be a lot of traffic on that now. Let me tell you, because I'm telling you, there's like 19 people in Cheyenne and 185 in Pueblo, and so they.
Yeah, but the I-25 corridor between the two has like 3 trillion people on them.
I'm just kidding. I'm from Denver. I know. So that's a Colorado joke. So if you didn't get it,
metrics. We need metrics for that too.
Give us metrics now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be good.
Right. All right. End of last week, SailPoint goes public. So this is a good exit. I think they got a good pop on their IPO. We needed some good security IPO pops. They're sitting at a little over $14 a share today. I just looked at their ticker symbol. $1.2 billion market cap. All in all, looks so far so good for the security exit. And like I said, we need more of those because there's a bunch of companies that probably need to go public. So having some positive news from the SailPoint IPO hopefully pushes a few others to get out there and go. But it looked like a good first week for SailPoint.
I think some of that's a mentality thing too, in terms of just IT and security in general has always been a kind of localized sort of thing, and you haven't seen that many really big companies yet. I mean, the day will come, but I mean, to me, it always sort of started with people that were all thinking about, Larry and Paul and I are sitting in this room going to do something, or and we even when we expand and we become Tenable, we still haven't started to become thinking about we're a multinational corporation, with a logo and stuff. It's still more like, yeah, let's go out and do a pen test, kind of mentality. I think that's limited some of that IPO stuff, but it's changing very quick.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Okta do pretty well. Snapchat didn't do so well. MuleSoft was okay, but we really didn't have much positive news on the security front. And we've got some big companies, Tanium and Cylance and CrowdStrike and Carbon Black. And, some of these guys, Logarithm, they're all sitting there going, should we go? Should we go? Should we go? Maybe this helps some of them go. Anyways, I always like good, positive exits. And here's a unicorn that came to be. So fantastic news for the SailPoint
you have
folks.
to get investors on board too with that, because it's a new industry, and I think a lot of like standard mainstream investors, if they hear the word HPE, they go, I know what that is. But when they start talking about cybersecurity and all this stuff, they think hackers, they think weird, obscure stuff, and I think that I saw that anyway in the like regular old computer science technology industries. As that evolved, investors became more comfortable with the terms. A lot of people that are investing don't even know what some of these people do and don't know what a pen test is or anything like that. And when they hear those kind of terms, they don't really understand. It makes it hard for them to capitalize it, monetize it, and put metrics on it. And because of that, it creates some confusion for investors. But yeah, as you see IPOs, I think you'll see that kind of snowball.
Yep, let's hope so. It's good for the industry. Some announcements from CA World that came out late last week. If you would have asked me 3 years ago about CA, I would have been like, what, the mainframe guys? Come on. But, the Veracode acquisition was interesting. And Doug, I don't think you've heard my theory for the next 3 to 5 years. But, I see things like application identity and data security, being big as we continue to move into the cloud and move our applications out into these cloud environments. Application security is kind of the next frontier. Identity and access management and data protections are kind of those things that are evolving. And you start to look at the CA portfolio and you go, wait a minute. They've got the identity play. They've made some good acquisitions on their on the vaults to expand out the identity. They made the investment in Veracode. They made some announcements about enhancements to those products as part of DevSecOps and this whole wave of moving to DevOps in the cloud. I thought it was an interesting move for CA, where I pay a little more attention to them now than I used to, because I see them doing some very interesting things that I kind of agree are things that we have to think about in the future. And so these announcements late last week at CA World was like, oh, we should talk about those. CA's relevant again.
I agree. I mean, all those sort of pieces that have been fit into that organization are things that I had not heard your theory, but now I have, that are starting to drive a lot of larger enterprise and will probably be driving the market for quite a while to come. I completely agree. You can jump in, Ismael.
Okay, no, you were. No, yeah, I worked with CA like about 20 years ago, and yeah, I agree that, I mean, it's the move to the cloud is something that's going to happen, right? Yeah. It's happening. So and working with application developers for quite a long time, and we see like the same problems over and over again. And Veracode is a fantastic product. I've used it myself as well for quite some time. So I think it's a right move. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just somebody for me to continue to pay attention to, because they're making some interesting right moves and going after kind of that next frontier of where we're going from a security industry. Last piece of news came out yesterday during HPE's investor call that Meg Whitman is going to step down as CEO early next year. Look, HPE has had an interesting 6-year stretch under Meg Whitman, right? You see the consumer printer side of the business split from the enterprise side. You see the acquisition of Aruba. You see the spin out of the security products to Micro Focus. I mean, this company has been just all over the place in the last 6 years. Are they better off now than when she started? I don't know. I mean, some people would say yeah, some people would say no. They're a little more focused, maybe, but I just thought the timing was interesting, right? Are the changes at HP done? Is this really now the time for them to kind of, they've got their focus, they know what they're going to do, and they need somebody now to execute on the next phase of the strategy. I just thought it was an interesting timing announcement from her to step down.
Interesting.
I've never understood what HP does. I mean, beyond 6 years. I mean, for the longest time, HP was one of those small companies that started in a garage and grew up to be a giant multinational firm, and it got so big and bloated that it couldn't function anymore. And people came in, they tried to dissect it and slice and dice it and put it into different little pods and little pieces. And then, the next person comes in and takes, I'm going to pull these pieces back in and put those pieces over there, and I'm going to divest this, and I'm going to add this, and then, we're going to, at the same time we're doing all that, we're out buying all these other things. I mean, to me, it was a lot like stuff that you saw with IBM going through, where IBM was doing the same thing. They're so big, they have so many, units and so many divisions and so many diverse interests all playing out. And then, take this CEO person and sit them on top of it. And that CEO person is supposed to somehow ascertain all these things and come up with this cohesive strategy for how that will all move forward. And I've always been kind of at a loss as to how somebody really does that, unless they were just incredibly brilliant. And there's just not that many of those people.
And especially in security, where, this is an industry that is changing so fast. That you guys were talking about this before, right? When you have a small company, everyone's focused, everyone knows what they have to do. When that turns into a big animal, politics start to play a role, very important role, and there's some other priorities as well.
And it is like gravity. I mean, if you ever look at physics or celestial mechanics or something, everything's interrelated in technology. So you have to guess which piece is moving, which direction it's moving, and try to hang on to it. Right. And it's always, you may not make the right move, and you say, well, we're going to go heavy into printers because printers are the future or whatever, and then it takes ramp up time, development time, engineering time, and all that stuff has to come together. Then you have to get the product into the market, and in the meantime, the whole market's moved on, and people are saying, we don't, I know if I call my daughter right now and said print something, she'd be like, print, but I mean, 10 years ago, all these people were jumping into that. 20 years ago, printing was a huge industry, and now it's just kind of this, kind of fading away. But big enterprises like HP or IBM or any of these kind of massive companies, it's like steering a ship. you don't just throw the wheel over and hope everything works out. It's like you slowly move. So they start trying to slice the ship into smaller units and say, well, maybe these smaller units will wiggle a little better through this market than this one.
And they go back again. Yeah.
Yeah, but then later somebody says, our problem is we're not cohesive.
It's consolidate.
And consolidate all these units back together under my authority. Because I would really, if anybody needs a dictatorial leader, I would be good at it. Because I've always had that kind of
You can create a bot for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I want a bot that has my personality in it. It's like an iron fist in an iron glove, and it's coming for you. But I'm sorry, Matt. I did it again.
No, but I mean, the question is now, with all the pieces that are left in the HPE bucket, now what? Right? What's the future? It's the server portfolio. It's the Aruba acquisition and the wireless stuff.
Right.
As stuff moves to the cloud, can they hang on? I don't know. I see the data center going away, and what they ended up with is a bunch of data center products in the HPE side of the portfolio. All the security software stuff is gone.
Professional
I don't know.
services, right? Went under CSC, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. So I mean, there's it's the hardware division of HP left, and I don't know that that's a sexy growth play for an investor at this point, because there's nothing. I don't know where the growth comes from personally. So, anyways, stepping down. Time for a new CEO.
I agree with you that the data center's dead, and I think that I hope that somewhere in the lab out there. I mean, HP's a behemoth that's been around longer than me. And I would hate to see that not be there, but at the same time, you do have to. Hopefully, they have stuff in the labs that's moving, away from just data center hardware, big iron kind of stuff. And IBM managed to do that. They managed to steer that giant chunk of iron through a bunch of obstacles, and they're still there. I mean, a lot of people back in the 90s and even early 2000s were talking about, IBM, it's got problems. IBM's too big. IBM's this. It's too centered on the past, and they're still there cruising along. Just like gravity, it's really hard to stop those big giant chunks of metal from moving forward as well. So we'll see.
But you know how IBM did it? They did it with global services.
Yep.
They did it with a bunch of products, and they stitched a bunch of really key solutions together. HP doesn't have the services and the software portfolio to do that anymore. So I don't know that playbook works for HP like it did for IBM.
I'm just waiting on the call from HP. I figure they're going to put me in that hot seat, because I figure I could take that thing on a long commentary ride right down to the ground, and get the $50 million golden parachute at the back end and go, yeah, I blew it. I suck. But they obviously need to put somebody in that chair that's going to have some vision for the future, because if they don't, I think you're right. They may be on a really bad.
I'll support you.
Ismael, I have his vote. So all of you out there, it's like I'm ready to ride that bomb into the ground.
Definitely.
So, yeehaw. Well.
Probably oversimplifying the problem, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Matt, as always. Thank you, Ismael, for driving all the way here from afar in tremendously awful weather.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody, for putting up with me for this show. And we'll see you next time on Enterprise Security Weekly, or at least Paul will. Bye.